Okay. Now we go to page 73, building healthy relationships. How many of you experience that when there are no healthy relationships amongst devotees, then Krishna consciousness in an organization, Krishna consciousness doesn't become hellish, but the organizational stay becomes hellish. It's really difficult to be part of such a community. Do you have any such an experience? When there are no healthy relationships, organizational life becomes hellish. You really wonder, why did I come here? Why these people are around me? What are we doing with each other? So, I want to hear from you how to build healthy relationships. What have you studied or experienced so far? What are the tips that you would like to give us on building healthy relationships? Yes? 6 loving exchanges. Dadati pratigruhnati guhyamakyati pruchhati bhunkte bhojayate. Okay, thank you. Yes?
Help somebody when he's in real need.
Okay, so CARESF. Care, appreciation, respect, encouragement, service and forgiveness unconditionally. Those are some of the main sutras of relationship building. Thank you. What else can we do in our devotee communities to build healthy relationships? Yes? Don't use your position to curb others. Deal on a very personal relationship basis level. Of course, unless people are really stubborn. Every time don't bring your position into picture. Any other? Yes? Create a culture of together chanting and hearing on a regular basis. It is Krishna Katha and Krishna Kirtan that will bind us together as spirit souls in one spiritual community. If this is neglected, our dealings remain only managerial with each other, give and take, we will suffer eventually. Any other tips? Yes? Okay, listening empathically. I think Prabhuji has gone a little ahead and read the other topics there. I'm just joking. It's page number 78-79. Listening for leaders and managers and listening with various. So how many of you did this communication seminar? Okay, thank God. I can skip 2 more lessons. So because I've already done it, so I'll not cover again. But you can go through it later on. Any other tips? How to build healthy relationships? Yes.
Even in the material world, they say that you have to give unselfishly. Those who give, they get. So it should not just be a kind of a business kind of a relationship.
Whatever you are expecting from others, give it to them. So you're expecting respect, give it. You're expecting encouragement, give it. So instead of just sitting and wondering how will the relationships build, you do something about it. Love is not just a feeling, it's a verb. It involves action. So you love someone means you do something about it. One interesting culture which is getting slowly forgotten is the culture of paying obeisances to each other and showing respect through that. And nowadays we have become so busy in our lifestyles that hardly ever that we see each other that we pay obeisances. Earlier, I remember when I had joined, it was such a culture. Every now and then you see a devotee, please accept my humble obeisances. And both of them will bow down. It was such a rampant culture. But nowadays, while going here and there, we look at each other and say, we. We means Vansha Kalpa. We Prabhu. So, Also share your skills, experiences and resources with others unconditionally. Sometimes we become so possessive. Yeah, mera hai, you know, and all these ideas are original. And I am going to make more progress than everybody else around me. It is as if there is a limited vacancy in the spiritual world, and only that post has to be occupied by one person only. There is no such a thing in spiritual world. By my making spiritual advancement and by another devotee is making his spiritual advancement, we don't cancel out each other in any way. He is making spiritual advancement in no way makes me not make my spiritual advancement. We have to get that very straight. Another thing is, if at all I became instrumental in somebody's spiritual advancement and they did go back to Godhead, I do stand a good chance. Just like Dhruva and Suniti, right? So that's another mood in which we should share with others. Yet one more mood in sharing freely is that anyways we have got borrowed plumes. ये जो हम सिखा रहे हैं या सीख रहे हैं या experience आ रहे हैं, these are not our original things. Anyways they don't belong to us. Somebody has gifted them to us. Like I learned this leadership and management from someone. I am coming and sharing. And the more I share wholeheartedly, of course, to qualified candidates, to that degree it increases in me. Please repeat. Na choraharyam, na charajaharyam, na bhratrubhajyam, na cha bharakari, vyaye krute vardhata eva nityam, vidyadhanam sarvadhana pradhanam. चोर चोरी करके ले नहीं जा सकता, राजा टैक्स नहीं लगा सकता, भाई लोग बंटवारा नहीं करा सकते, एंड कभी भी इसका भार नहीं होता है, और जितना इस धन को बांटो उतना वो बढ़ता ही जाता है. ऐसा कौन सा धन है भाई? विद्याधनम सर्वधन प्रधानम. So we should be really eager as leaders to share and receive transcendental knowledge. Nahi jnanena sadrusham pavitram iha vidyate tat swayam yoga samsiddha kalena atmani vindati. In due course we will relish this knowledge within ourselves. We just don't need anything externally material. That is the power of transcendental knowledge. So we should not be stingy and political, and sometimes the typical earlier exam mentality we bring in devotional life also. सबसे सब कुछ लेने का, छुपा के रखने का, अपने कंप्यूटर लैपटॉप यहाँ वहाँ भर भर के, एंड किसी ने बोला थोड़ा दो शेयर करो, नहीं मेरे पास नहीं है प्रभु जी, या whatever. This is such a horrible mentality. And worse is to sell it. That's another. So one thing is for sure, it should not go in wrong hands. That's understood. But when we find a recipient and an eager candidate, we should give whatever best we have got in Krishna consciousness. And that is the way he will benefit and we will also benefit. So share your skills, experiences and realizations with others. Don't become kanjoos, makhi choos. Okay? How can we nicely harm relationships? Let's have a discussion on that. What all can we do to nicely destroy good relationships? Yes? Start judging devotees. You put rubber stamps on everybody. This devotee angry, this devotee duplicitous. So as soon as we start interacting, first we read the tag that we have put on them, and then start dealing after that. Any other? Not keeping one's commitments in the relationship. So breaking promises. Lack of communication. Sometimes over communication is a problem, and sometimes no communication is a problem. and sometimes miscommunication is a problem. And Kali Yuga is all about quarrel and hypocrisy, and quarrel is usually due to communication problems. So on page 74 there is a sheet to be filled up, building trust and breaking trust. So take 2 minutes time and write down some ideas there. What builds trust and what breaks trust? Okay, let's share. Can I hear what all things build trust? And in case you have come across a new revelation when you hear from others, you may note it down for yourself. What builds trust? Arjun Krishna Bhai.
The leader does not allow anyone to speak about others behind their backs.
Oh, leader does not allow anybody to do any backbiting. Interesting one. Yes? Whenever a leader gives credit to Guru and to Vaishnavas and personally thinks himself very incompetent to do a service behind, okay, when spiritual standards are very high, visible good sadhana, consistent sadhana, he walks his talk, keeps his commitments, never makes promises. Yes?
No autocratic decisions.
No autocratic decisions. He especially involves key members who are stakeholders in the decision making process. One last chance, yes?
He speaks, it's according to Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. So that helps me.
Speech is the most important quality of a leader. So his speech is very authentic, relevant and appealing. What breaks trust? What if a leader will that break trust? Yes?
He says something but he does something.
Okay, says something and does something else. Has crooked dealings. Personal and confidential things shared with him, he makes them public. Yes? Any other? Amshubu? Speaks lies or manipulates truth. Yes?
Premature judgments.
Premature judgment. Suddenly jumps to conclusions without having heard the full thing.
What?
Yes. Okay. Autocratic decision making. Okay. I'm looking for 2 more, yes. He favors those who... okay. He creates a situation where those who favor him, he favors them. Partiality. Any other? Someone who has not yet spoken? Okay, continuously breaking promises. 2 ones which I am looking for. One is holding grudges. It's a typical one that a leader does. He holds grudges. After 15 years also he doesn't forget. तुमको याद है 15 साल पहले तुमने क्या बोला था? My God. So another is one who is hogging credit or withholding appreciation. Somebody deserves appreciation and he withholds it because he feels that, oh, if I appreciate, then my position will go down. So either of the two things. Why we are discussing this building and breaking trust worksheet is leadership is all about this trust that people invest in us. When we get a position, initially people tend to invest some hypothetical trust in us कि अरे इसको अपॉइंट किया है तो ठीक ही रहेगा, अभी कुछ तो आता ही रहेगा. Over a period of time, however, when we exercise our service with them, do they really get to know how much capable we are? Or how much do we deserve their trust? It is something like Bhagavatam class, you know. Whoever sits on Vyasasana, all Aam Janta in ISKCON comes and sits at their feet and starts hearing them. Why? Because they have trust. If the superiors in the temple have allotted the speaker to speak, then he will speak non-controversial things according to Prabhupada's teachings, and he will inspire me, you know, in my Krishna consciousness. But if they consistently hear somebody speak, you know, worldly politics, stray unknown examples just to crack jokes, or they hear someone bring out some controversies every now and sometimes use Vyasasana as a very great lobbying for managerial decisions in the temple, that they should favor him, then over a period of time what happens? People who repeatedly come across such a thing, they understand that this person is not actually speaking Bhagavatam. He is somewhere else. He has got some other things going on. So this is why every interaction that we have with every individual in our community is either breaking or building trust. Just to come to this conclusion, so much we have been doing till now. Every interaction we have with every member in the community is either breaking or building trust. So we have to become conscientious. So on the page 75 it says, drawing from the above table, write down your main strengths and your main challenges in demonstrating trustworthiness. Then suggest some tips for yourself to improve on them. Please do that exercise. So one side you write your strengths in trust building, another side you write weaknesses that do trust breaking. Below that you write suggestions to improve. For example, somebody may write their strengths as amicable exchanges with people that I meet. I have a very non-threatening personality. People can find comfort in dealing with me. Another strength could be I have a visible good sadhana. These are all trust building items that we studied earlier. I'm just giving an example. This is not literally for you as a person. And let's say in weaknesses, someone may write, or challenges, that's the better word. My weakness is my irregularity. In especially relationships. In the way I interact with the most important members of my community. And that's usually due to my busyness, that I lack keeping commitments. Not keeping commitments. I promise so many things I will do, but then later on last minute I have to cancel or not do what I committed. Another weakness, very selfish person. And when people sense that, they get repelled from me. So that's just an example. So the more honestly you write the answer to these questions, and if you need some help, you can ask your friends. They will also help you, especially superiors. And the earlier you sort out these heart issues, the better a leader you will become in near future, very near future. Abhito Brahma Nirvanam, Krishna. Abhito means in near future. Now we go to page 76. That's the conclusion for the day. Emotional deposits and withdrawals. How many of you earlier used piggy banks? Now they call them as cow banks actually. Piggy banks. So every day, your mother gives you a coin and you go and deposit. And every now and then you save some money from your pocket money. You don't buy your, whatever eatables and stuff. And you saved some money, you put it in deposit. So that's called a piggy bank. When two persons interact with each other, there is, just like you have a personal bank account in the bank in which you make deposits and you also make withdrawals. Similarly, there is something called as RBA, Relationship Bank Account. There is PBA and there is RBA. Every time you do the things that we just now discussed in trust building, when you do them in a relationship, you are making a deposit into the RBA account. Every interaction you have with a person, you have opened an account. And every quality of interaction that you do is you are either depositing or withdrawing from that account. I hope this concept is clear. So on page 76, there are 7 very powerful deposits given. Let's read them one by one. In case there is explanation needed, we will have. Number 1, please read.
Understanding the individual. The key to the other deposits. You do not know what other people consider a deposit until you understand them. To make a deposit, you must learn to value what the other person values.
Yeah. So as leaders, we have to take out time to interact with people outside the regular environment of our service, to know them better. If you are only managerially dealing with them, then we won't know their true selves. Some people, they like it when someone gives them a physical pat on the back as an appreciation, and others feel offended. Some people, they have a liking for verbal appreciation, and they don't like this mementos and big gifts and money or some artifacts. They don't like it. So to such a person, you go and give him a nice big poster or this thing. They say, what is this? They said, this is appreciation for your service you did. He said, just say some, I understand, I don't need all this stuff. So in order to do anything else in a relationship, it has to begin with understanding the individual. हमारा प्रॉब्लम क्या है? That we want to retain our stature as who we are, and we want others to understand us. So this is the root cause of all difficulties in a relationship. Imagine I come to your temple and let's say I don't like sweets. I don't like, I'm serious. And you think, oh, Prabhuji has come, so nice. And you get, rasgulla, sandesh, rasmalai, jalebi, all kinds of things from somewhere and put it in front of me. And I look at it and I say, sorry, I don't like sweets. That's not the way to show appreciation. So, what to speak of food habits or so many such peculiarities, everybody has their own value system, needs and values. We really need to understand that thoroughly before we start reciprocating in a relationship with them. Please read second.
Attention to details. Small kindness are very important. Small discourtesies and little form of disrespect can be major withdrawals. Cultural difference are an important consideration in an international organization.
Small kindnesses. Sometimes even the way you look at other devotee, they can take an offense. तुमने ऐसा क्यों देखा? Well, I didn't understand whether I looked at you or not in first place. I don't remember I look, Sometimes you may say like that. But small form of discourtesy can become a major withdrawal sometimes. A classic example of that is in one of my counseling group meetings, one devotee had a birthday and I tried my best to write something very appreciative, genuine appreciation, and give him a gift, in his birthday. And after that meeting, 2 days, another counselor was not in a good shape talking to me. And I was wondering what went wrong. Later on I got to know that I had forgotten his birthday and had not made any gift for him. Now you may say, Prabhu, Vaishnava hai to kya hai? ऐसा थोड़ी वैष्णव रहता है, ऐसी expectation नहीं करना चाहिए. Anyways, birthday is not something so great, is it not? One time one of the devotees, I think Bhakti Vikas Maharaj, he went and told his authority, today is my birthday. So he was hoping that some appreciation will come. And the authority said, so how old is your stool bag? How old is your stool bag? So you may say, wow, that is too much, too far out to think like this. Of course, Bhakti Vikas Maharaj is humble. He took it in the positive spirit and he thought, wow, I really got enlightened. I should not give undue importance to my birthday. Now he can take it, but not majority of his audience can take it. So it depends on who the person is also, right? So small discourtesies, little forms of disrespect can be major withdrawals. It just so happened that after I was appointed as a member of a vice presidential board in our temple, that one day I was sitting with another devotee, and one known devotee, little senior one in another community, passed by. And I did not specifically take any note, in the sense I was busy conversing. That devotee went and said, अरे VP बन गया बहुत चिंग, 2 horns आ गए इसको, ध्यान नहीं देता है. So then later on I understood, this is not what he meant. All that he meant was that I had to at least make a gesture of acknowledgement that here is a senior person passing by, which I was not attentive enough to do. So you go and seek forgiveness. Keep it simple. Don't complicate things further. Cultural differences are important consideration in an international organization. One time I was walking on that, that bridging mound between the Mayapur temple and the Gurukul. There's a pathway that goes. And one American devotee was coming from that side and I'm going from this side. So he's walking on his right side, I'm walking on my left side. Because that's the way people pass by in America and in India. And we are almost about to bump in each other and they're looked at each other. I'm giving you way on this side, why are you not going? And he's also thinking the same, because in America they walk on the right side. They said, I am working on this way, why are you not passing? And then we both suddenly realized together, ki arey, he's an American, I am born Indian. So this is a cultural difference. There is no issue here. Another time, Indians have a habit, तुम ये काम करोगे क्या? हाँ हाँ जी कर देंगे. No, the gesture means no, but they don't realize. हाँ जी कर देंगे, बिल्कुल कर देंगे bro. So they say very, so Indians have a peculiar, so the outsiders, like America or Europe, they don't understand. He's saying no, but he says yes. So body language is, we saw, 68%. Content is only 7%. So they doubt what exactly he means by this. So cultural differences, we have to be sensitive to that, especially ISKCON being a big time organization. Sometimes in our temples, some sannyasis would come. They were like born in America, and usually they would ask for a good car for travel. And I was in my guest reception seva in those days, and I used to really offend them. Sannyasi hai, what is the problem? Any car is okay. What is the issue? Jeep mile ya bailgadi mile, kya problem hai? Program koi to jaane ka hai. Why so be specific about it? So I was really cribbing and offending in my mind. And later on, my superiors, they pointed out to me, they said what we call as a car in India is not even a bullock cart. In those days especially, now good cars are coming in India. It's not even a bullock. One time that one sannyasi, he sat in one of our sumo, and while leaving for a program, the car, he started the engine, the driver, and the smoke started coming from all four directions. And the car was not going anywhere. It was just producing smoke. So that sannyasi looked at me and he said, is this a rocket launch? So the point is, we may think this is luxury, that is necessity, and that is below poverty. But people's bar of that, even in material circles, differs based on their culture that they come from. So we have to adjust to that, not take such a big offense for these things. Go ahead, third one, keeping commitments.
Keeping a promise is a major deposit. Breaking one is a major withdrawal. Be careful in making promises and commitments, considering unforeseen obstacles. Under promise, over deliver. Others who learn to trust your promises will trust your judgment even if they don't share your vision.
Wow. When we sparsely make commitments, you understand sparsely? Rarely make commitment. And when we make a commitment, we really keep it. Then what happens? At other times, when there is a crucial decision making going on, and that person is about to make a wrong decision according to us, and we say, Prabhu, if you make that choice, I promise this will be the consequence, which is a negative one. Then that person will change their choice. Why? Because he has earlier experience with our promises, that they come true. They actually, so that is the power of keeping commitments. We have this classic story of Kamsa and Vasudeva. When Vasudeva said that I will hand over all the children of Devaki to you, even personality like Kamsa, he had full trust. Ye karega. Can you imagine for a wicked man like that to have such a trust in a devotee? What should be the character of that person? So that is about keeping commitments. Fourth one, please read ahead.
Showing integrity, walk your talk, do what you say, align your value and behavior. Integrity creates a foundation of trust that is essential for cooperation and long-term personal and impersonal growth. Without integrity, others sense duplicity and become guarded.
Yeah. So I earlier discussed this integrity topic with the public life, private life, secret life discussion. So aligned values and behavior is called integrity. Integrity in other words means wholesome personality in which no portion or no feature of his personality is corrupted. So that is called integrated. You have heard integrated circuits? So like that, integrated personality, integrating. Fifth one, please read.
Admitting vulnerability, apologizing
Apologizing.
sincerely. A genius apology is a great deposit. Repeated apologies can be perceived as insincere and constitute a withdrawal. Mistake of judgment, which are usually of the mind, are easily forgiven.
Admitting vulnerability. It takes strength for a leader to admit that I actually made a mistake. It is not needed that just because we are put in a leadership position that we have to every time prove to others that I never make mistakes. It may be that we don't make mistakes, but sometimes the way we justify our not making mistakes is a bigger mistake. People are actually becoming averse in a relationship with such a person, but he cannot sense it. So it is better to say, from my perspective, it was appearing to be 100% accurate decision, but it seems you are too disturbed about what has happened. Can I know what is the trouble? And how can we set it right? So at least be vulnerable enough, may not be to admit the mistake, but at least to rectify what he perceives as a problem. So that much is, and relationship is all based on vulnerability. I am vulnerable to you and you are vulnerable to me, then we have a relationship. You see Radha and Krishna, super vulnerable to each other. You see Krishna and his devotees, super vulnerable to each other, which means the other person has more control over this person than his own self. That's vulnerable. But there are people who tend to think that all the relationships, including especially guru-disciple relationship, has to be a non-vulnerable one. It is not true. We see, of course, guru never commits mistakes, disciple is always a disciple, and their reciprocations are always based on respect and intimacy. At the same time, the guru is not putting forward a role of cutting a perfect profile of a pure devotee. That is not the job description. He did not worry about that. All that the guru is trying to do is to represent his superiors properly to the next generation. And that is where sometimes we can feel in our heart that I am not perfect. My superiors are so pure and great, so sensitive and wonderful. How can I ever represent them perfectly? To think like that I always perfectly represent my superiors is a height of ego. Why? Because we, if we are really humble, can moment to moment perceive that in my place, if my superior was there, they would have dealt with the situations far better than me. And this is what is needed in spiritual life. Prabhupada says often that all I did was to represent my spiritual master's words perfectly. I may not be perfect. He says that. I may not be perfect. But what I'm representing is perfect. And that's why I have authority over what I'm presenting. So vulnerability is a very important issue. This is not to say that we have to become subservient or foolishly submissive to our juniors and allow any nonsense to happen in our community. It is just to make a point that if there is a problem, then we should think I am or I could be the first reason of that conflict. That much humility we should have. Yes.
So many times because of their last experience of community, they think that all brahmacharis, those who are coming to this place, they are doing all nonsense things. So they are judging on their level that everybody who has come to this place.
दूध का जला छाछ भी फूंक फूंक कर पीता है.
So how is our role that not commit the previous deeds what others have done, and second thing is that we don't want to prove them that we are right person, but still they are dealing with us is same as previously what they are doing with others.
Disrespectful. Yeah.
So in that case, what we have to do?
We have to do the right thing in the right manner and not so much get bugged up with what others are dealing or how much they are respecting us. His question is, if there are brahmacharis who had a fall down in a particular community, then the community leaders in general have a disrespectful attitude towards brahmacharis. So if a new person has come in that system, then they also tend to think that ये कितना दिन टिकेगा, देखते हैं इसकी लीला. So that disrespect comes out in various ways in doing administration. So how should I deal with that situation being a brahmachari? So there are two things: do the right thing and leave the right impression. We have to really follow this as a formula for 10, 15, 20, 30 years in that community, so that eventually we will have credibility in the eyes of those community members that these people are actually substantial. They have not come here with ulterior motives, or they are not unexemplary, foolish fellows. So what are the two things? Do the right thing and leave the right impression. So when it is about teaching or counseling or management or sadhana or interpersonal dealings, we should always do the right thing, yet also leave the people with right impression about what we are doing. Go ahead, sixth one, clarifying expectations.
Clarifying expectations. The root of almost all relationship difficulties is conflicting or ambiguous expectations with regard to roles and goals. People judge others based on the expectations they have of them. We create many negative situations by assuming that our expectations are self-evident. Initially, clarifying expectations may require courage, effort and time, but will spare compounding misunderstandings, disappointment and communication breakdowns in the long run.
One time in one of the temples, there was a youth program, and the title of that youth program was Overcoming the Mountain of Misunderstanding. So one sannyasi, he commented, after you climb over and overcome the mountain of misunderstanding, you come across ocean of misunderstanding in Kali Yuga. Kalir dosha nidhe rajan. So it is very natural that misunderstandings take place. So let us get settled down with this, that typically there would be something that will happen in interactions where misunderstandings will be rampant. How we deal with that is what we need to master as a leader. So, clarifying expectations. So, if there are small or big conflicts, what we need to do is to get the person A or group A and the person B or the group B together. Tell A to write down needs and values that they have in that situation that are not being met. So A writes about A's needs and values, and A also write about B's needs and values that they have figured out. And the same exercise repeats for the B. B writes his own needs and values that are not being met, and B also write A's needs and values that they think they are not meeting. And then usually you need to exchange the paper. And often you will see People give very shocking responses when that happens. I said, come on, how can you assume such a stupid thing about us? We want to serve you. Why would we want to compete with you? No, that's what we felt that day, because the way you took away the books from the godown seemed little different. So that's the point. Clarifying expectations from each other. 7th one, please read.
Seeing the good and potential in others. Trust goes in two directions. Those who cannot give trust are often untrustworthy.
Hare Krishna. Solid. Go ahead.
Seeing the good means seeing the soul and perceiving Krishna's hand in everything. Consider how Srila Prabhupada displayed this quality.
So basically we have to train our mind to see the positive. And I just want to leave you with one last question. In the relationship that Krishna has with us, is Krishna ever lazy in following these 7 items? Thank you all very much. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.